Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to database tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be about transactions. Okay, so transactions are a very important subject to understand, and basically if you are doing lots of database programming, you must understand them very well. They are not difficult, they are actually very easy. So here we go. Let's consider this example. Okay, so this box over here represent your database. Let's say it's your database in its original state. Let's mark it like this. Okay, so this is your database. It's unmodified, right? And you want to perform update operations by adding 100 for each of those numbers. Let's say these are salaries in one of the tables, and you want to add 100 on here, on here, and here, and you want to make it look like this. Okay, so I'm gonna change this, make it blue. Okay, so basically the set of operations or commands that you do or execute against the database in order to change it from this state, okay, into this state is called a transaction. Okay, so this is what a transaction is. It's a number of SQL commands that will change the status of the database from one state into another. So far this doesn't seem very interesting, right? Okay, now let's consider the following example. Okay, I am gonna copy this and show you what's gonna happen in between. So in between I'm gonna make this let's say like that. Okay, basically when you want to perform such operation, you will execute the update one row at a time, maybe multiple rows, but basically what happens is that it works one row at a time. Okay, so what's gonna happen here, this one is gonna get updated, this one is gonna get updated, and when all are being updated you will get the final result. Now consider this situation. What happens if for some reason after updating one record or two records and some kind of error happens? Now if you look at your data, the updates are not complete. If the data is stored as it is, the result will be inconsistent, right? The data will be something in between the original state and the next state of data that you want it to be. So this might be wrong. Now let me explain this in a more practical example. Let's say these are the salaries, okay, or yeah, and you want to add for each one $10 or something like that. Let's make it like that, 100. These are all salaries for some people, and you want to add for the first person 10, for the second person 20, for the third person 30. Okay, so you want to have something like this. You want to have something like this, right? Now what happens is that when the first update works, the second update works, the third didn't work. So what happens is that now you increase the salary for two people, and the last one you did not increase his salary, and basically in a real system such a thing will cause lots of problems. Okay, so one of the great features of database is that transaction either continue to the end successfully, or they does not affect your data at all. What does that mean? When you perform update operations, if everything goes well and all the operations are performed correctly, you will end up with this database, okay, having the final result that you are expecting. if for some reason during the execution an error happened, the database, all the changes will go away and the data will go back to this status. Okay, so basically this prevents errors and problems from happening in your database. This is the first important thing to know about transactions. Okay, when you want to let's say you perform the number of updates or inserts or deletes. Let's say you deleted all the data. Okay, you did something like this, and now you regret it. You know that this is an error. You want to get your data back. You issue a rollback command and the data will go back to its original state. However, if you are sure that what you are doing is correct, as soon as you do a commit, your data your database will be like this. It's gonna be empty. Okay, and now even if you issue later on a rollback, it will not work. Always each transaction will work after the last successful work on the result of the last successful transaction. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now okay, so now let's look at another situation. What happens is, if for some reason you are having your data on a server, okay, and let's say you have thousands of records, hundreds of thousands, and you are doing lots of processing, you already have a transaction running and it is not finished, and your database is on the network. During the execution, someone comes and wants to see the data. They will not be able to see this database because the execution is not finished, okay, and they cannot see this data because this is not a consistent database state. What they are gonna see is actually this. They will see the database before you started the transaction. However, when you perform commit operation and database status change to this, if they access the database, they will be able to see the new they will be able to see the new database state. Okay, I hope you're not confused with this. Now I wrote a little program to demonstrate this, so I'm gonna share it to you and to see this for real. Okay, so what do we have here? We have this database. It has a table called names, and here we have column NME and salary. Here we have Smith, Todd, Michael, John. As you can see, I'm gonna set the salary for each person to be something, an integer, complete 100. Okay, and I'm gonna save that. Okay, so now I have this little program. The program have a number of features. You open a connection, you can begin a transaction, you perform an update, okay, and this one will add 10 into the salary of each person. We have commit, rollback, and the view info in order to view the information. Okay, so the code is very simple. Open connection, you already know that. Here I'm just specifying data source and opening the connection. Now begin a transaction. This is an important one. Here you just define a transaction object outside of all the subroutines so that it is accessible to everyone, to every other method, and then you just call begin transaction. Okay, next you perform update, and the update is very simple. Update name set salary equals salary plus 10. That's it. Okay, and well, just a note about this. In the last tutorial we saw how we used commands to get to read the values from the database. Commands can be used also to perform operations. We will we will discuss that. Right now I just want to explain the idea of a transaction, so don't worry much about the code. So here we are defining a SQL command, and then we are executing it. Since the command doesn't return rows, it's just updating the information, so it is not a query, so execute any query is being used here. Okay, also we have commit. Here we get the transaction and commit it. Okay, and we have rollback. We get the transaction and roll it back. Okay, and we have view information, which you are already familiar with if you check the last tutorial. We execute a reader. This is also a command, but this one is getting me a result, so we use execute reader, and we are displaying the values, the name and the salary. So now let's test this one and see what's going on. So okay, first thing I'm gonna do, let me show you this. Okay, this is the table so that you can see the data, and this is the program. Now first thing, I'm gonna open the connection. Connection is open. I'm gonna begin the transaction. Okay, transaction start. Now I'm gonna perform an update. So now update is performed. If I view the information here, you can see Smith 710, Todd 310, and so on. Each one get an increase of 10%. Now if you see here, the values are not updated. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna close the table and reopen it again, and the values are not updated. Okay, so this program is considered as a user, and it's accessing the database. The data has not been committed by the other program or the other user, which is our Visual Basic program. Now I am gonna perform a commit. Okay, now look at this. I'm gonna close the table and open it again. What do you see here? You see that the values are being updated. Now the data is in the new state, right? Because I performed a comment. So all the data is now updated. Now I am gonna change this and make it okay, something like that, which is Michael, right? So I am gonna say view information, Todd. Okay, now okay, it seems that access performs a commit right away. Okay, this is surprising. I thought it was it used to work like on transactions, but it seems that the patches are being updated right away. Anyway, let me show you this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. Let me continue the example. So now oh okay, I think okay, so here it seems that I hit begin transaction twice. No problem, let's run this again. Usually you cannot run more than one transaction at a time. So here, open connection, begin a transaction. Okay, so the transaction started. Now update the information. Now try to view them. So 720, 320, so everything's updated, right? Now I'm gonna say roll back, and now view the information. You can see the information now goes back to the way it was, as you can see. Okay, so I am gonna now perform multiple updates, not a single update but multiple updates. So check this. This is the first one, you can see here. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and so on. So I am updating multiple times the same table, right? Now I'm gonna save view information. As you can see now, the numbers are high. Now I'm gonna roll back and view the information. The data went back to the way it was. Okay. Now I am gonna again perform number of updates now. Okay, and now I'm gonna commit them. Okay, so here go back. Okay, so now you can see the data is being updated. So this is basically how transactions work, and I hope this tutorial explains it very clearly. Okay, I am gonna I am gonna put the source code of this tutorial on the website, and if you have further questions, let me know. Next tutorial we are gonna work with the transactions, and I'm gonna explain how to perform insert, update, and delete in as a transaction. It will be more like just an implementation for what you have just learned in this tutorial. Okay, so that's all for today. Hope you'll find this useful. Have a nice day.